until Milton Gull's nephew, Bill Lawless, generously entrusted them to my care. These papers had never been read or seen by anyone outside of the Gull family, even though expedition leader Wilhelmer Stephenson had been anxious to obtain them. As Mrs. Rudolph Martin Anderson once wrote to the mother of Alan Crawford, the young Canadian placed in charge of the party, real history is made up from the documents that were not meant to be published. Perhaps my most valuable resources have been the letters written between the families of the 4 young men on the expedition, to each other and also to Wilhelmer Stephenson. All impressions expressed by the characters herein come from these letters, journals, and other first-hand materials, as does any quoted dialogue. Also, in keeping with the characters and with the language of the time period, I have used the term Eskimo instead of the present-day preferred Inuit. Because the 4 men called each other by their last names, I refer to them as Crawford, Knight, Maurer, and Gull. The only exceptions come in regard to their families and loved ones, who knew them as Alan, Lorne, Fred, and Milton. Ada Blackjack, however, was only known to the men and to Stephenson as Ada, and that is what she is called herein. Loss and survival quickly emerged as the resounding themes in this book, made all the more illuminating and ironic by my own unexpected journey of loss and survival throughout the writing of it. 4 days after I finished the first draft of the manuscript, my father passed away after a gallant battle with cancer. As I wrote about Lorne Knight's own deterioration from scurvy, and Ada's struggle to live in spite of all that she endured, the parallels became all too real. This book is the story of Ada Blackjack, during her ordeal and after. It is also the story of 4 young men, Lorne Knight, Fred Maurer, Alan Crawford, and Milton Gull, and their families. Finally, it is very much the story of an enormous spirit that could outlast anything. As one of Ada's great-nephews remembers, I recall her as a small, sweet woman whose faith was as big as the sky. Members of the 1921 Wrangel Island expedition. Alan Crawford, Commander, Toronto, Canada, age 20. Lorne Knight, Second in Command, McKinville, Oregon, age 29. Fred Maurer, Third in Command, New Philadelphia, Ohio, age 29. Milton Gull, Assistant, New Braunfels, Texas, age 19. Ada Blackjack, Seamstress, Nome, Alaska, age 23. Victoria, Vic, Expedition Cat. Part 1. The 5. There, with only a dead man as companion, surrounded by seas of ice, Ada Blackjack wrote the real epic of the North. The World Magazine, October 30th, 1927. 1. Her father was dying. He had eaten meat that was too old, and afterward he had eaten fresh meat, which turned his stomach, and now he was sick from poison. 8-year-old Ada Delatuck and her younger sister dressed him in pants and skin boots and his parkie, as Ada called it, and then they wrapped him up in skins to keep him warm. Together they somehow managed to tie their father to a sled, hitch the dogs up, and set out to drive to Nome. The town was 30 miles east of their remote village of Spruce Creek, Alaska, but the little girls had no choice. They needed to get help. It was difficult to say how many miles they had traveled before Ada and her sister realized that their father was dead, and so, defeated and broken-hearted, they simply turned back and took him home. Their home was the Eskimo settlement of Spruce Creek, Alaska, 8 miles east of the tiny rustic village of Solomon. Ada Delatuck was born in 1898, the year of the Alaskan gold rush. In 1899 and 1900, thousands of people